So you're going to measure from the wall 1.5. You're going to measure another 1.5. We're going to call the point farthest from the wall the reference point. Okay? So we're going to make that 0 so that everybody's on the same page. So this is going to be 0.0 meters. Okay? Now, then it's going to roll in to 1.5, and we're going to make the wall be the 3 meter mark. Okay? So you're going to go from 0 to 1.5, 1.5 to 3, 3 back to 1.5, 1.5 back to 0. It's already going to be moving. Okay? So don't start this thing at 0, 0 with the velocity. You can start it at 0, 0 with the position time graph, but don't start it at 0, 0 with the velocity time graph. Okay. So this is why it's going to take quite a few people. So Connor A might have the time from 0 to 1.5. So you got to have your phones. You use your stopwatches on your phones. Okay? So Connor A is going to start the stopwatch when the front edge of the plunger crosses the 0 mark. He's going to stop it when the front edge crosses the 1.5 meter mark. So what we're going to assume is that over this interval, we're going to have constant velocity. In reality, you're slowing down a little bit, but not enough to really make any difference. So to get the velocity in that first interval, Connor A is going to take the displacement. Now, this is displacement, not distance. How do you calculate displacement? What minus what? Something final minus something initial. No. Displacement. Rhymes with position. Position, thank you very much. So on the way in, what's the initial position?
0.
0. What's the final position?
0.
1.5
1.5.
Oh, wait, well, we going.
We're going to go from 0 to 1.5. Then we're going to go from 1.5 to 3. Then we're going to go from 3 back to 1.5, 1.5 back to 0. So, according to Sydney, displacement is position final minus position initial. On the way in, when you go from 0 to 1.5, what's the final position? 1.5. What's the initial position? Check my math, but 1.5 minus 0 is 1.5. Now, in big bold letters above this data box, I tell you, show any calculation. Displacement is a calculation. So on here, it's the simplest point you're ever going to get in this class. All you have to do is write 1.5 minus 0. That's all you have to do. Check my math, that's going to equal 1.5. That's all you have to do. So, Connor A is going to time it from 0 to 1.5. Connor M is going to time it from 1.5 to 3. Okay? So Connor M is going to stop his time when the plunger is completely compressed up against the wall and all of the potential or all of the kinetic energy is changed into potential energy. So 0 to 1.5, that's one time. That's Connor A. Connor M is going to start it when the plunger crosses the tape. He's going to stop it when the plunger is completely compressed. Connor S is going to time it from when the plunger is completely compressed until it rolls back to 1.5. So, Connor S, this is vital. You're not going to stop the stopwatch until the front of this plunger crosses that mark. Don't go off the back of the cart, because then you're going to be off by the length of the cart. So you're going from 0 to 1.5. 1.5 to the wall back to 1.5. Okay? Andrew is going to time it from 1.5 back to 0. But again, don't stop the stopwatch until it's the plunger, not the cart itself. Then you need Chloe recording the entire time. This is why you have to have 5 people timing. So you're gonna have one person push the cart, one person time from 0 to 1.5, another person time from 1.5 to 3, another person time from 3 to 1.5, another person time from 1.5 back to 0, and Chloe's gonna keep track of the entire time, and Dylan's gonna push the cart. Okay? That's why you have to have 6 people. Now, when you add together the 4 intervals of time, those should be within 1/10 of a second of Chloe's overall time. It doesn't have to be exact, but it should be pretty close. Okay? Now, think this through. Which of those 4 times should be the shortest amount of time? 0 to 1.5, 1.5 to 3, 3 to 1.5, 1.5 back to 0.
0 to 1.5,
Why?
because of the push.
Yeah, that's when it's going fastest. So your shortest time interval should be 0 to 1.5. What should be the longest time interval?
1.5 to 0.
1.5 back to 0. So you can look at your times like, hey, do these fit the pattern that we should have? Okay, so here's going to be the most critical thing. Is that, let's say that the first interval was 1.10 seconds, so that's 0 to 1.5. 1.5 to 3 was 2.20 seconds. I'm just making up numbers, okay? So on this column where it says elapsed time, the first column is just 1.10 because that's how long it went. Then the second one, 1.5 to 3, that elapsed column is going to be the sum of these two, which is going to be 3.30 seconds. Now, that is the most singular critical time you need for this lab, is the sum total of time it took to get to the wall when the plunger is fully compressed. And here's the reason why. When you draw that position time graph, whatever that time is, 3.30 seconds, that's when that position time graph has to be at its relative maximum, because that's when it's farthest away from the graph. Also, what's going to be the velocity at 3.30 seconds?
No.
0, because it's going to be stopped to change direction, right? So you're going to know this is going to be 3, 1.5. You would know how long it took to get to 1.5, how long it took to get to 3, so you're going to kind of extrapolate this line. After 3.30 seconds, what's the sign of the velocity? Negative. Why? Change direction. Cool. So on the way back, you're going to know sometimes going back to 1.5 and back to 0. You are plotting position time, not displacement time. Okay? Now, that 3.30 seconds, what I would recommend as you come down here to that velocity time graph, when you're at 3.30 seconds, and I would use the same scale on both graphs, I'd stack one on top of the other. At 3.30 seconds is when your velocity time graph is going to cross through 0. Okay? So you know your velocity time graph is going to look something like this. Both graphs have to show the same thing at the same time. So when your position time graph shows a velocity of 0, when you can draw that tangent line and have a slope of 0, that's when your velocity time graph has to go through 0. Okay? When this velocity goes negative, that's when that velocity has to go negative. Now, here's the unfortunate part. You're going to have to think, brutal as that may be, and you're not going to know all the data. You're going to have to do what they call extrapolating the data. But we can get some points. So down here below, to figure out when the plunger is going to hit and when the plunger is going to leave the wall, we're going to kind of figure out what those points are going to be. So what we're going to assume is that the plunger took 1/10 of a second to compress and 1/10 of a second to expand. which is less time than it takes to snap your fingers. Bam, it can happen very rapidly. So, if I were using this data, this is the data that I have, then to get the point when the plunger hits the wall, I'm going to take 3.3, and I'm going to subtract 1/10 of a second, and I'm going to get 3.20. Then I'm going to add and get 3.40, and in between I got 3.3. So with this number, that 3.2, that tells me when that graph begins to plunge down. The 3.3 tells me when it's at 0. The 3.4 is when it's going to leave the wall. Now, here's the question. Jacob, from here to here, is the plunger expanding or being compressed?
Being compressed,
How do you know?
because, it is slowing down.
Beautiful. From here to here, what's it doing?
It's expanding because it's speeding up.
It's expanding because it's speeding up. At this point, what's it doing
It's slowing down again.
as it rolls, right? So you got friction mafia, spring mafia, spring mafia, friction mafia. Okay? Which one is going to make it accelerate most? The friction mafia or the spring mafia? Spring mafia, because that has the biggest change in velocity for a period of time. Okay, I'm done. So, find the spot on the wall. You can go here, anywhere back there. I got 2 red cards and green card, 3 groups. You're going to put a piece of tape down at 1.5, a piece of tape down at 3. When you get done, take the tape off the floor. I'm too old to reach down and take that tape off the floor. Okay, kids, you're on your own.
I'm just gonna read the odd one out again. Yes, because they don't care enough.
There's all around, there's meter sticks. I wouldn't go that way faster because there's no matter room back here. That way longer. And there should be a green card over there. Now, this is not NASCAR. You want this to go just fast enough so that it makes it back across. Okay? Just saying.
You have this way, we should remain.
Yes, we just gotta take there, then we can do that on the other side. I got you, where's this? Trying to get it as fast as.
We need to mark where the 1.5
You
is.
got
That is where it is 1.5.
it. It's all good. Better be exact.
We have to leave this.
Well, you're the closest to the ground, so. Okay, nice.
They got more than 1 meter stick. What the heck?
Oh, you kidding?
What were we thinking? I don't know, Charles. What were we? You obviously were.
Can I loan someone use?
We're good.
Never mind.
It's a child over here. It's so like, it's very entertaining. It's just so smooth. Oh, shit. Going forward. Yeah. Hey, go get mine. Where's my pencil go? Guys, where's my pencil go? What you doing? Are we measuring?
Did you not listen to a word I said? I purposely stressed, it has to go with the card.
I would take one star. Wait, we need a test. I'll be the first.
I can go spring to 1.5. I can go 1 to 1.5.
I need a practice one.
Let's try this again.
It's gonna be more. No, it doesn't. Okay, what is this? Oh, this is it.
Slow it down a little bit, those cars have such less.
You're gonna look right. Wait, before you got the recording? No. Okay, we're gonna do it. Okay, we gotta sign each other. I think we just have one person that laughed.
That would have been for
Oh, we're on. I got it. Who wants the first
Bro,
one?
what is that? Okay, let it all.
I can actually go way back.
We need someone who's doing 1.5.
Who do you have?
I was making sure one of you that was more part and then somebody else. And then you guys out of the way.
Goes Adam?
Okay, I think I did right. Wait.
Yeah. Get your calculator back out, ready? Two point 2.32.
Don't worry about it. No, that's, this is start. What? No. Also, you ready? Start with. Everybody ready?
What'd you get? Guys, we do.
Don't say you guys, it went like that, but then when it came back.
The rest of us were just in general.
Or the braille juice,
It's all
off of
fun.
everyone else.
Maybe everybody's going off the screen.
One more time. Hey, look at me.
Yeah, step 5.
Just wait for timing. Looks like one city.
What'd you
Look at me. You made me tired. Yeah. No, you can do it. Within 300. Okay, you all.
Okay, you all.
Okay,
So
So let's look at you, because we all know what's going on.
Whoa, Mario, slow down.
Alright. Yes. Why are we using so much? Hold on.
That's bad.
Yes, I have.
Okay.
Okay.
But if you got times, that's
I'm
okay.
gonna there, you can go there, eventually. Oh, we Everyone look, everyone look. Everyone look. Are we looking? Yes. Charles is video. Why are you doing that? Okay, everyone shut up and Hey, that's pretty good. So total time, you good?
That was good.
Okay.
Okay, now, y'all have to. Now we do this 3 more times now.
No.
When you get done, make sure that tape comes off the floor.
Okay, what's 0, 1, 5? Okay, so you want 1, 2.
You should have 8 calculations, 4 displacement calculations, and 4 velocity calculations that I want to see, okay? 4 displacements, 4 velocities.
So we're at 1.53. Okay. Guys, I'm confused. Your second. Right now from 3 to 1.5. Whoa, what?
That makes sense. That makes sense. That still makes sense.
It should be faster than the 1.5. Okay, what's the last calculation? See, that makes sense. That would make sense.
What? They both make sense. It's always slowing down.
Did you start when it compressed or when it first sprang out? When it was lowering like this or when it was like this?
That makes sense. Because it's not gonna be. Don't five calculations for your displacement.
No. Well, but it's still pretty big difference.
Yes, but that's still an acceptable.
Guys, I feel like we have some numbers. Let's go ahead and get it and see what we did.
Wait,
I'm not, it's almost like it's traveling through, it's almost like it's traveling Let's just do it again.
It's always slowing down.
It's slowing down.
It's always slowing down.
So, let's tell me this way, tell me when you,
Really?
hit your
It's
start.
always slowing down. That number
I
makes
get
sense.
always down there here, but it does not compress. No, because remember, there is a very brief period which is.
It's
There's no correct answer.
It's going down slower.
Yeah, it was going pretty slow by that point, so it more goes like.
He just said they were good. He just said they were good. These are good numbers. This is good data. These guys.
No.
The string's not fully compressed, so it's going slower on the way down.
And even if it was fully compressed, it would still.
Yeah,
But
it's slow
that
down.
exchange when that plunges in contact with the was the best time it takes to understand. So don't think you time that as a separate step. That's why you got that line of calculations down here. Now, I'm gonna tell you now, when you draw your velocity time graph, which is gonna cause you much thought, do not play connect the dots, okay? In other words, do not try to connect velocities with time. These are velocities over intervals, not over, like, at a specific point in time. So do not play connect the dots on your velocity time graph. You could have it.
So the interface of the entire grid. How'd you get?
I think
Calculate velocity. Did we actually go shoot each time?
Yes, every calculation.
No, because it was
Last time is just.
Oh wait, guys, are we on 0.79 or 17?
Okay, who timed the last one? Andrew, it was a point 7 for your point 7. I don't know where I got that. You said that.
Was not. The entire grid is no, I got 7.51.
We was 5.
No, 5-1 as well too, like the TOO.
That's
I don't know what the TW is. Yes. So now velocity, I don't know if you remember this equation.
What is velocity?
I got 1.5 meters, guys, over 1.12 seconds. So naturally,
Wait, what?
what? Meters per second.
Oh, no.
What? I got 1.34 meters per second.
I'm pretty sure we could make it slow down.
Oh, that. Does that hurt? Does that hurt? So guys, so now. Wait, for the velocity, you just feel like 1.5.
I could have pushed it way harder for everything.
Okay.
And it's very funny.
But remember, that's, at the beginning, it's probably going a little bit faster than that.
They're just watching Instagram Reels.
Charles, you really travel
Yes.
with velocity. I was trying to do like acceleration.
Yeah, which is what.
This is, wow, I called you dumb.
You gonna take that?
Me personally.
He said don't play next to us.
Oh, no, we actually do the total time minus 50. No, you don't.
What was that lag?
For the.
What?
Was that lag?
No, I didn't even. That was pure curiosity. All I saw was like. Was it in the 60s?
Yes, but look.
Yeah, but like 67, 80s.
Yes.
Oh,
You see, I missed like 30 minutes. I got the last call.
Oh, it is. Oh, meters per second. I'm done. Wait, what do you mean you're done? I'm confused. What? Why are we confused about? Shut your mouth. Okay. No. I mean, actually, bring it up. I think we should accelerate our anger towards this one. First one. Yeah. You know what? This is why
You're not that far off.
But I'm a blonde. I'm a dirty blonde. I'm not a ginger.
I'm more, yeah. I used to love
Look at me, I got the dark brown.
I
luscious
don't
hair.
believe that.
I got luscious dark brown hair.
Have you not seen?
Not around here, but they're
It's luscious white brown hair.
Yeah. And when you cut it, it kind of reduces that.
You know this.
That must be 5 or 6.
I just feel like there's a minority.
Make sure you take the tape off the floor. If I have to take your tape off of your floor, I am going to be, yeah.
Getting on.
Table.
Draw your position time graph first, Correct. Hold on, I got one out.
Yeah, there's.
No matter how much more.
That's what happens.
I didn't even. No, I didn't. No, I didn't. No, look, Charles, this is literally what I did.
Okay, let's see, freaking, what is it, 1.5?
Yeah. Usually that.
That's what we're waiting for.
I thought they were.
Mr. Burkamp, could I holler at your students?
Yes, everyone give Mrs. Manning your undivided attention, everyone.
Hello, friends. How's it going?
I taught her many years ago.
Many, many years
Many
ago.
years ago.
I'm here just to let you know, I sent everybody an email this morning about your AP Physics 1 registration form. That is for everyone, whether you plan on taking the AP Physics test or not. It's a very simple form. All you do is fill in your name, and then at the bottom it's, do you plan on taking the test, yes or no? Filling the form out is easy. Making the decision on whether you are actually going to take the test or not is maybe a little more complicated. So I'm sure Mr. Burkamp has already talked to you. This test would not be for those of you who are going specifically into engineering because you would need calculus-based physics as opposed to the algebra-based physics. However, it could still work for a lot of you in other areas. So it's kind of the in-between. Do you do the dual credit option, where your grade that will go on your college transcript is based off of your grade in the class, so your 2 terms averaged out is what you would get, versus do you take the AP test, and then how you score on the test, on that one day, on that one test, your score there is what indicates whether you earn credit and sometimes even how much credit you earn. So, the AP test is a little bit more of a gamble, but it's only $100. As opposed to paying for the class, ends up being closer to like $225-ish.
Yeah.
So, I really, really need you to fill that form out for me, and you need to join College Board. So if you
Again,
haven't
even
done
if
that
you
yet.
are not taking the test, you need to do this.
So you go to College Board, if you don't have an account already, create one, it's very simple. And the form that I sent you has a join code, and you just type that join code in, and it'll drop you into the class. There's even some benefits of being in there. There's some different test prep and things like that. So, I'll be honest with you, I dreamt about this the other day, which is kind of weird. But this particular class, for whatever reason, historically physics is the hardest one for me to get you all to actually do the steps. I don't know why.
Because I think most of them they know they're not taking it, so therefore, it's just like it's not relevant to them.
Okay, so this is relevant, because if not, I'm gonna come back and I'm really good at nagging. Like I'm a professional.
Because if I have to give up my class time for her to nag, I'm gonna nag you. But my nagging involves a red pen, her doesn't.
Okay, okay? Yeah, I feel very reinforced here. Okay, that's great. So if you have questions or you're not sure, come see me. Last thing is, if you qualify for free or reduced lunches, I can get you the AP test for like $55 instead of $100. You just need to come let me know that.
And
Okay?
when is the deadline?
It says in the form, I ask you to have everything taken care of by November 1st. And it has information in there about payment, when it's due, who it goes to.
And you also have a cool link if they want to look at colleges and how it will transfer.
Yes, there's an AP course credit search that you go to, and you can look up by different colleges, what score would you need to earn to be able to get credit from that school, and specifically what would it transfer as. So I tried to put it all in one nice, easy place for you. The trick is you have to look at it. Okay, all right.
Thank you.
Thanks, Rick.
Oh, it's-
This is specifically for the College Board AP. So if you're going to take the test, it is not for the dual credit. If you're going to be doing that. Okay, you're welcome.
I did buy
That's what I was gonna do.
one for math and one
Stature point, yes.
Also, September 11th, we're having the service day, okay? I only make this open to my students, but we need to clean the solar panels. But there's no freshmen, literally, if you are not a student of mine, you are not eligible to do this, okay? But I only need about 16 people, so on that September 11th, if you do not have a service day opportunity, especially for those of you that are here at Mays High School, that might be something to consider, because I'm only letting my students sign up. Because if you think I'm gonna let squirrely freshmen loose near my solar panels, you're crazy, okay? So if that's something that you are interested in, let me know. So, forgot about that.
What time?
Okay, so
What time during the day?
2.19 seconds.
It's gonna start in the morning, we'll probably finish by about noon.
So
The
you'll basically miss like the first second
2.19
block.
seconds
Huh?
is
So
what
you'll
you
we'll
use
basically miss like
for.
first second block.
No, it's like a whole day long affair. This whole, this the whole day.
Well, when did they start
We've
doing that?
never done it,
No.
Deacon. Only my size done it.
You're right, that is stupid. Give me a second.
Happy day.
I'm gonna try.
As for the service day, I don't know.
Ah, remind me tomorrow.
Can I sign up now?
Considering that I
Like having like an art history class and it's like.
have not chosen an activity for service day yet, I might just bite this year, take a bite at the solar panel cleaning stuff.
Someone who like went into an art degree, I was like, oh no. Make sure
Are May South students
you
still
read
eligible to
problems
do that?
thoroughly and making math, like.
That I don't know.
No. Oh, yeah.
If
There's
so,
just one problem or it's just like,
Do you know where I could find out?
go with what you feel like it's
I'll
trying to.
I'll find out. And get back.
If you were
If so, I
confused
would
on
like
it,
to.
maybe we were overthinking. Yeah,
But
that's
not-
probably what.
Okay, let's see. Honestly, the worst part about this is it's small.
Oh, but we don't have to do like the high school one of like 4 classes or anything.
What?
I'm working my code.
I want this.
Flip the money. The money is like, God, I don't want to pay anymore. That is true.
Okay.
And like, if you feel something, you have to go
This rock
back from
problem.
another year.
So there's levels of this problem. So starting off with zero.
You know what that
This
is?
loss of time down, I'm sorry.
It's an incentive to be faster.
It's gonna speed up to 60 meters per second. Then we'll shut off the engines.
It's a good hour for
This one
everything.
goes to stop, and this one goes all the way back.
Also, from what I know,
So start this graph.
it's not a great idea to take 8 AM classes.
This one, you will,
Like even though it feels
stand
later,
on
since
top
usually
of
it's
the
a high schedule.
one person, this is gonna drop the
You're
ball
not like,
and fall straight down. Throw it, it's gonna fall all
and
the
it's
way
from the
back.
late nights of homework.
So there's a whole bunch of stuff that you need. Label each section, so I know exactly what you're doing. Start this graph at 15, because we're not including the throw. We're starting at 15. Okay? All right, there you go.
I think so, the first one, the first calculation? I think so.
Because what is it? This is.
But it's
this
so
is
not
2 seconds.
Yeah, but I mean, we don't really
There's your
know.
question sheet.
Ask him.
See, if we would have recorded.
I did record.
Oh, yeah, okay, then pull up with the, how long it was when they traveled like 0.1 meters.
How would I have done that in slow-mo?
That sounds like a personal
We can see where
problem.
the plunger is at.
Now that, yeah, but when you actually
It doesn't
do
start
it,
till
right,
halfway
you want to
through.
spread those out.
Make sure you
My
like,
Android
grab
does it all the way
the-
through.
Okay, you
Acceleration
do,
grab.
Charles.
Yeah, I guess it's just, but you want to ask him.
I would never say what. You would never.
I wouldn't mind that. It would make me taller.
Yo.
You know, like those medieval torture rack things?
know.
Like that.
One
That's
tile.
stretching.
So right there.
Put me on the rack.
Right?
Why doesn't he? So this is, why isn't there 10 seconds on the
I should have expected pass.
Hey, Andrew,
But yes.
how do we get 10 seconds on the little scroll? So the first velocity that we calculate, do we use that as the initial velocity on the
Yeah,
graph?
it's-
Or
It doesn't give
But it's gonna give you an idea,
it.
it was probably going a little bit faster than that.
okay, so we're treating it as like the velocity where it started at.
Yeah, so I would treat that velocity as the midpoint of that time interval.
Okay,
Because it was probably going a little bit faster at the beginning and a little bit slower.
okay, so just like the.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
That's why I said you can't really connect the dots.
Yeah,
You have to think through, well, yeah, this is the velocity, probably a little faster at the beginning, a little slower, you know?
okay, thank you.
Got it?
I think we should say connect the dots. Just have the
If you think you're gonna take the test, if you want to take pictures of your test,
Yeah.
So like at 0.75 meters, that's where you put your first.
I'm just going to, I go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, so like, right
Cinema.
which would be 0.75.
You've traveled 1.75.
No, the velocity, the velocity.
Which?
The time.
0.75 seconds.
What pen? Oh, Phoebe's right.
Oh, shoot, it is like,
Did you mean meters or seconds? 4.75 meters?
well, I guess it would be, it'd be in the middle of seconds. It's the same.
So that's just this a lot.
It's just the velocity.
You would put it on save by
Or,
Yeah.
well, the half of what?
Why, you saying I should treat them differently because they're disabled?
No, it's like.
That's crazy.
I look at the CDC.
Because it's supposed to.
By their definition, I am disabled.
So 0.56?
Yeah, well, I'm not gonna treat you any different because you're gendering you're disabled.
My dreams.
I'm pretty sure, slightly different.
No,
It was
not
kind of.
really.
I practiced that one on my head.
It was funny for a while,
Hey,
but
good
now
young
honestly, it's
Good
kind
luck
of.
at the lives. That's.
I have
You have,
to my
practice.
knowledge, I have no Irish
It's not like
ancestry
rehearsal.
whatsoever.
Yeah.
It's not even funny in that sense.
Wait, is it band or like standard? Oh.
Is everybody
from band gonna be there?
If it was piano, I'd just be less.
Oh,
That's right.
Oh, yeah.
You do have that.
So,
Look, hey, I think, I used to fail for most.
Oh,
You can take pictures with your multiple choice.
I don't.
And then memorize them and then put them down.
Memorize your test answers.
Memorize.
Somebody else not that nice.
I'm gonna run away.
We do have.
Yeah.
Well, probably plus walking as versus pace.
Hey, Mitch, this is your Mitch. We're friends, right?
Yeah.
Wait on me.
Thank you.
Hurry up.
This time.
Actually, I am pretty sure, so.
Like when?
Oh.
I was gonna get
I'm still
dinner.
going to.
I was actually gonna get dinner for myself today after school. Like, I don't have my card in my wallet, I accidentally left it in my house. And Andy says took my last hamburger.
Oh,
I'm poor.
this is why I would
I
suggest.
had a hamburger.
Quick question. So when are the text retakes gonna be?
Just at some point after school, before school, whatever.
Also, I'm kind of slightly confused on the 60%, 40% thing. So like,
Okay, so let's say you got 70 points out of 84 in the first test. Okay, let's say that you get 80 points out of 84 in the second test. So instead of just doing a straight average of 70, 80, where you would have 75, I'm gonna weight that 80 at 0.6. So I'm gonna take that 80 times 0.6. I'm gonna take 70 times 0.3. And then I'm gonna add those two numbers together. So your average then will probably be around 76, 77, something like that. So it's gonna, so when you do better on retest, which is the hope, that's gonna help your score more by weighting it than if I just did a straight average of the two scores.
If I have to do worse on taking a test.
Oh, I'll just probably act like it never happened.
Oh,
Oh,
is it possible I could take photos of my test?
Yeah,
yeah, just don't share them on social media or the internet in
I would
general.
share it on the web. I'm kidding.
No! You're going to get on the internet, but I cannot guarantee your safety.
Just.
I can share it with them.
That's
Funny.
let me, all have the grades input after school.
Okay.
And then you'll see where you're at. So,
And I can decide.
and it just depends on how important is the grade to you. So the other side of it is, hey, everybody's gonna have this test and the forces test, and then probably midterm final, and that's it. So we're not gonna have that many tests. So that's the other way to do it.
Is that just this quarter, or is that for?
No, most of the
semester?
time, in any 9 months time period, we're only gonna have probably 2 or 3 tests.
So the question
So
is,
this doesn't give us take so long to get, especially if this 16-month course.
so in theory, what would be I know in technically be terms is between
How long shall I do
3.75 and 4, but for rate, never mind, so on.